let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's fellowship who fears his fellowship to die with us.
And that is how historically, artistically, and accurately historically, William Shakespeare marked the fact that King Henry V was the first person to invent the modern passport.
A lot of times we would make a show, and I would travel somewhere to research it in Cuba or along Route 66, and then would be telling my friends or collaborators about, you know, this is what happened and this is what we're going to do, and then often, not often, but sometimes people said, you know, that thing you described is more interesting than some of the things even in the actual show. So with this, then it's like kind of calling their bluff. And all this is kind of these 17 different border crossing experiences that are kind of result from making the other shows or touring or traveling. So it has a very nice contrast between a very formal structure in terms of its lighting and design, and a very informal structure in terms of the way that we're just telling, just telling the stories of crossing these various international borders.
8, 9. Now, on the count of 10, you will find yourself on a train, the Balkan Express from Budapest to Serbia. Here we go. 10.
What we're very interested in is trying to take things from real experiences and put them directly into the theater. So there can be a danger there because there's not a whole process of a playwright and a developmental thing. You know, it's a lot of times we'll take a story of something that immediately happened from what someone overheard a dialogue at a gas station or something, and we realize, oh, that's amazing, we'll put that right into the show, which I like because it has a much more fresh quality to it, which also on the other hand can be very frustrating because sometimes you want it written very nice. But I think the goal is to expose a form of theater that's quite different than a traditional form of theater in the way we're using light and scene design and things, and even taking stories from different sources and then actually putting them on stage.
And then all of a sudden, about 10 minutes into your sleep, the light comes on. Bush. Huh? Bush. Bush. It's Hungarian for a passport. Bush. And you give the Hungarian guy your passport, he looks at it. It's a problem. Problem is the Hungarian word for problem. Problem. You see international part of ticket. Apparently you haven't paid the extra $2 for an international supplement to your ticket. This is actually a supplement for the border guard's night's drinking, and so you pull out 300 forints, the equivalent of $2. He does not give you a receipt, and he goes away, forgetting to turn off, of course, the harsh green fluorescent neon light, which you turn off, and you decide to try to go back to sleep.
It's definitely theatrical armchair traveling, because we're going to take you through borders in Bosnia, in Brazil, in Serbia, in Colombia, in Mexico, in France, in Hungary, kind of in a crazy order.
So, you've found yourself invited to this traditional Bedouin wedding. It happens over 7 nights. You're there for the 5th night. All the women are on one side, and you being a woman, because you're traveling on a Bosnian female passport, and you're a woman right now, you're with the women on this side of the camp, inside this beautiful camel hair tent. And the men are down there. And they're basically walking back and forth and drinking tea and shooting huge AK-47s off into the air in celebration.
The structure is much more like a film. So if you don't like theater, especially, this is an interesting thing to see because it doesn't feel like that. It has very quick cuts. It has very short scenes. It has very different visual elements that happen on the turn of a dime. And so it's kind of a cinematic, theatrical live experience that's, well, I don't know if it's going to be completely amazing or not, but it definitely will be interesting.